Hello, how are you? I am Cheryl Renee Moses. This is the next episode of Overlay for the Underlay. I see somebody coming in now. Today we have a great topic. We're going to rock and roll and talk about a question that came up uh, while I was having a talk with a friend of mine. Uh, his name is Alton. He's a homosexual African American man. And hey, Michelle, I see you over there. Thanks for joining. And for those of you, we'll be talking. This is an interactive conversation. This is Overlay for the Underlay. I'm Cheryl Renee Moses, and I'm excited about our conversation today. I'm going to put information in chat on my website, overlay-underlay.com. Would love for you to join the mailing list there. And I come on Thursdays at 9 o'clock, and we talk about everything under the sun related to politics, relationships, maneuvering as humans in this world. But overlay for the underlay it means exactly what it says. In most instances, there is a general narrative around something. I call that the overlay. But when in reality, there is something else happening, that's the underlay. So, overlay for the underlay, this is where I bring you the narrative, which is the overlay, and I break it down to you to understand the underlay of that discussion. So, today we will be talking about why are you homosexual? And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. His name is Alton. He may be joining us. And Alton is a homosexual African American, and we have spiritual conversations quite often. And in having that conversation, we talked about how does one become a homosexual? Is that something that is a gene that is in you when you're born? Is it something that happens, as people call it, are you turned out? Or what is it? What is it? So Alton brought a premise to me, which I've always said homosexuality is part of your spirit. That's a spirit, part of your spirit. And I know I have cousins, I have friends who are, part of the gay community, the LGBTQ and whatever other letters, but I know I'm right with the LGBTQ. That have I have one friend. I'll give you this story. Um, Gregory told me we've been friends for over 30 years. And he is the only homosexual of his family. He has two sisters, a brother. He comes from a big political family, a power wielding political family. And he told me, even as a little boy in elementary school, he knew he would, look at other little boys, and he was attracted to them even as a little child. I have a cousin, we call it having a gaydar, that, you can pretty much tell when somebody is gay or not. My cousin, first cousin, it was always something a bit different about Gary. Gary was the sweetest person you could ever want to meet. And Gary was born that way. He came out of the womb that way. So I guess Alton has chickened out and not come on, but we're going to have this conversation because Alton, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in the Most High God. I tell folks, I have some folks that don't like for me to say it, but I'm a witch, if you will. And if you look up the definition of what a witch is, I'm a believer in the Most High God. I come from a Baptist family. I'm always surrounded by my angels, my ancestors, and I have energy and power beyond the average person. So when I say I'm a witch, I say that proudly. I also, my men that have powers, I call it powers, vibrations, if you will. I operate on a higher vibration than a lot of people. And what I will say to you about that is this. Um, we are this is Earth School, right? And so just as we send our kids to elementary, middle, high, college, universities to get all these different degrees, God sends us to Earth School to nurture our souls. So each time we come to Earth, you know how folks say we have a mission, is something we're supposed to each life. That is true, because each time we come, it's for us to learn, to nurture our souls. So when we die, it's graduation, if you will. We are graduating from Earth School, going back to Master Energy, Master Love, which is the Most High God. And then we come back for our next grade. So that's why you meet people. Like you might meet folks have a child and they'll say that child that's an old spirit, that's an old soul. Yeah, it is. That's because that person has been here to Earth School on many occasions. And that's just like my mom is 85 years old, but she's a babe when you talk about her turns here in Earth School and spiritually. I've been here many times. I'm a master. I'm a 33. And I'm learning it more and more, but we all operate on various vibrations. And so men who operate on vibrations like I do, I call them warlocks. And if you Google the definition of those terms, you will understand that is being knowing and recognizing your angels and ancestors who are always around you and using your energy. You can use your energy to do positive work. You can also use your energy to do negative work. And that's free will. That's your choice. So in talking about, I just want to give you a foundation of where my head is. So in talking to Alton about homosexuality, he said to me, homosexuality happens as a person is coming back to Earth, right? They may have been here in the life before as a man, and now in this life, that person is becoming a woman here in this visit to Earth School. And in transitioning, keeping the spirit of the male and the spirit of the female may still be there. So this is the conversation that he brought to me, and I said, "Hey, oh, here he is. This great intro. He must have heard my vibe, because I'm like, I know he better be getting on here." But before we even have that conversation, I do want to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves and tell us where you're zooming in from if you like. But I see familiar faces. I don't know Pastor Cersei, but I do want you to introduce yourself. We're gonna do round robins. You all know how I operate. So you'll introduce yourself, tell us where you're zooming in from, and give us one thing that was fabulous that happened for you last week. Right?
First of all, I want to know, can y'all hear me?
We can't stop yelling.
Okay.
Stop yelling. We good. We got you.
Okay.
All right. So first thing we're gonna do is do our round robin. That's my Alton, y'all. So he's here. And we're gonna do round robins out. And we're gonna introduce ourselves, say where we're zooming in from, and tell something fabulous that happened for you last week. So I'll go first because I'm a cheat. I'm cheating in that I get to say it first. I'm Cheryl Renee Moses, and I'm zooming in from Lawrenceville, Georgia. And the fabulous thing that happened for me is that we have a president-elect Joe Biden. So that's my fantastico of the past few weeks. And I'll turn it over to you, Pastor Cersei. Please introduce yourself or tell us where you're coming in from and something fabulous in your life.
Okay, well, Cheryl, I am loving your energy. I'm actually Alton's cousin.
Okay.
So I was invited tonight to this. Like you, I am a third degree high priest in the Wiccan tradition. And I'm also a Pentecostal pastor at an inclusive Pentecostal church. So I
Wow.
am both. So I am with you.
I am honored.
Say, the goddess in me honors the goddess in you.
Yes.
I am honored by the shift in energy that happened this past weekend. It's a shift in energy that we're going to have to support. It's not just on their shoulders to make all of this happen. They're not our saviors or our Messiah. We have to do our part, especially on January 5th, to help that process. If the Congress and the Senate is locked, their hands are locked for 4 years. So it'll look like they did nothing, and that's not fair. That's actually what happened to President Obama his last 4 years. His hands were locked, and that's because of us. But with that, I will go on to the next person, and I'm sure we have more discussion. I truly, truly love your energy. Blessed be.
Oh, thank you. So glad to have you. I'm loving yours. Trust and believe. All right, Michelle and my wonderful friends, Chandler, please introduce yourself and tell us where you're zooming in from, madams.
I'm Shondelyn Gilead. I'm zooming in from Houston, Texas. I'm originally from New Orleans.
Okay.
One good thing that happened for me, or something that I'm excited about today, is our anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's so
Absolutely.
fabulous. What a great topic for the anniversary.
It's our third year.
Oh, that is so fabulous. 3 years in.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Miss Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. I'm zooming from Houston. I'm from New Orleans. Good thing. Well, she said one of them. What else happened? Yesterday, I received an email from Omar Gooding asking me if I would consider bringing him on as a producer for my feature film.
Excellent.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
I love it. Big things popping. That's what happened when you're an urban media maker. I love it. Thank you. All right, let's see. Let's go to our next person. Alton. Well, I'm gonna save you for last so we can introduce you and then go into our spiel. How about that?
That's fine.
Okay. Kimberly Purvis, would you introduce yourself, please?
She got a home. Let's see.
Kimberly. Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. Lawrence, would you? Oh, there she is. Kimberly, there she is.
It took me a minute to figure out.
Hey, Kim. Hey, Kim.
Okay, so apparently, like I'm a early riser, so it's my bedtime. But I wanted to come on just to be with my brother Alton and hear all the good conversations that are going on tonight. I'm right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, everybody.
Excellent. We are so happy to have you. Thank you for
Yes,
joining. Lawrence, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lawrence Hill, and I'm calling in from
We
Lithonia.
can't see you. You're not showing your face today?
No, I'm having a bad hair day and an unshaven day.
I told you
No,
put a
it's
hat
not
on.
happening.
You better put a hat on.
The hat's not going to take care of unshaven since I don't have to go out. I don't shave unless I really have to because it gets kind of crazy. But I wanted to support Cheryl And moving here from Los Angeles, I thought the tolerance would be open. It's and people talking about their sexuality. I think that's their business, but I notice here so much is going to a Methodist church and how homophobic and people all around us are homophobic and just not open. Hey, whatever person does, that's their business. And being that I had to be an advocate for employees and some of the issues were around their sexual preference, I had to defend them. And here I'm seeing them going like, wow, people are really homophobic. They'll smile, but then in the back, they'll say different other things. And so I'm going like, no. My family members who defended me, my cousin was defending me. I mean, he switched on you, but he could box. So with that, it was like, that was my family. And you talk about somebody about their sexual orientation, I have a problem with you because you're not open and accepting people for who they are. So boom, that's, and I want to support you, Cheryl. So, hey, I'm glad at what you're doing. So I was going like, okay, I'm gonna listen in. Hi, everybody. Maybe I show a little bit of myself.
Yes. I was like, you know, we want to see you. And
Thank
need to
you, Mark.
see
Thank
that.
you.
I was like, let's see what we're working with.
You got my brother name, ma'am. You got my brother name, so I thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Lauren.
All right.
Pam, you there?
Okay, yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Pam.
Yeah, this is Pamela Ashe Smith, and I'm a longtime friend of Cheryl. And I'm zooming in from Atlanta, Georgia. And the great thing that happened to me this week, my husband and I got the tower garden that I got recently put up. So I'm going to have all fresh vegetables and everything that I want grown inside my apartment. I don't have to go out if I don't want to.
I know. And put that in chat. It's called the Tower Garden. Put it in chat so people can see what it is.
Okay, I'll put in my website.
Awesome.
Yes. And it allows you to grow your own salads and vegetables right in your apartment.
Yeah.
Yes, that's really cool. So thank you, Pam. Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
and now introducing Alton Gaston.
I was supposed to cook something.
The man of the hour, because he brought this subject to me. We had a conversation. I think we was on the phone about an hour. So
yeah, if not beyond that.
Yeah, for sure. We covered all things about being witches and warlocks.
Right, but you gotta be careful. But what I wanted to say was, you know, this is a question that has, I think, a lot of people on their mind. And I've even invited my cousin David Michael and also my sister Kimberly Prince to come in on this. David Michael, not only has he been an advisor to me, he's also, to have the benefit of him being my cousin. But he advises me, and there's a lot of things that's been going on in my mind, and we can go on. Everybody can chime in when they want to, and I would invite you to chime in. But what I want to say was, by no means am I a PhD or anything like that. But I feel like in our physical bodies are just a vehicle. Our physical bodies are just a vehicles. We're spirits, and as David Michael informed me earlier today, that not only are we ancient, there are some of us that are ancient, and there's some of us that have who are just coming in. And when I say just coming in, I mean some of us have been here a long time, and those of us who are coming in who have been here for younger than we are. But what I feel is that when we come into our physical bodies, and David Michael, chime in at any time, please. But when I feel that when we come into our physical bodies as spirits, knowing that we are ancient beings, and David Michael corrected me earlier on this about feminine and male. But when we come into our physical bodies, I feel that we are, once we come in as one entity, and being that we are ancient beings, when we come in as one entity, as a male or female, he told me not to use that, but when we come in as spirits, and if you possess one body or when you're a host of one body, meaning if you're male or female, you carry things over. And when you carry those things over, meaning emotions, desires, or anything like that, and once you come over, and once that you pass away, your spirit never dies. Your spirit never dies. But once your physical body passes over, and or not only, but once it goes away, and your spirit goes on home to Father God, there are things that carry over with you, emotions, desires, things like that.
Alton, let me help you. I said this before you got on the call, that this is Earth School. We come to Earth School just as we go to elementary, middle, high. I've told you this before, that this is Earth School. When we come here, this is for what we're supposed to learn in that journey, in that level, if you will. All of us operate on various vibrations. Some of us have been here many times, some are new. That's what I said from the beginning. And what happens, our likes, our dislikes, that's not something that occurs the 9 months you're in your mother's womb. That comes from the number of times that you have come to Earth. The reason we come to Earth School is to nurture our souls. That's where all of that comes from, right? So I know that's what you were trying to say. I'm just trying to help you with that, because I want us to have the conversation about homosexuality, right? Where there are folks who believe that you are born, that there's a gay gene, right? There are others who believe that it's by choice that you choose to be a homosexual. There are others who believe that folks are turned out, that things have happened in their lives that made that happen, that turned them into a homosexual. So in our discussions that you and I had, you brought up the premise that it's it comes about as you come in here for your next grade school, if you will, on Earth, that you may have been a female in the other life. Once you come to Earth School in this life, as your spirit is coming into that physical being, that some of the traits that you had in your previous life is brought with you. Is that pretty much what you were saying?
And that's the reason why I have you and David, Michael, and Kim with me, because y'all know me, and y'all can only express what I feel, and I can
we
only.
got you. I know you get emotional about this, but I'm just saying, let's talk about that. So I agree with that. I think that people fall under the term homosexual in a number of groups.
Yes.
I don't think it's homosexuality is not monolithic. It's not, one straight and arrow way of how that comes to be. And I think what you are saying is one of those avenues, right?
Exactly.
Huh?
Exactly.
Right. So I want to have that conversation. So we
And
already go ahead.
what I will say right now is I will ask David Michael to come in and give his perspective, because
we're gonna get everybody's perspective.
I'm gonna get everybody's perspective, but my perspective is that what I feel, and David Michael, you and anybody else can comment on this, but I'm telling you what I feel.
Yeah, that's what I brought you on for. I want to hear what you feel, what you said in our conversation. We are have commentary from other folks who are on this call after that, but I want to hear you express exactly what you expressed to me on the phone in our conversation right now in this Zoom call.
In this
So
moment of
I
now,
don't need you to refer to anybody
right,
else.
right,
I
I got
want you to bring forth
got
your thoughts of it, period.
in this moment of now, what I feel is that once we come into life, be it male or female, when we exit this life, if you are a man in this previous life and you go on and you have all this masculinity as a male and you go on, and once you go before God and you come back into life and you got all this masculinity and you come back as a female, and with all this masculinity you come back as a female, and then what are you to do with this masculinity in your body as a female? Same thing as a woman with all this femininity, and you come back in this life as a man, then what do you do with it? I feel that we all think it carries over. I feel that it carries over. It absolutely carries over. And when I say it carries over, I think the essence of who we truly are, our spirits, who we truly are. And we've got to take something over from what we were before when we go home. And when I say home, we go to Father God. When we take stuff back, we've got to take an essence of who we truly are back to Father God. And when we come back into another life, once we come back into another life, because we can't always come back as a male. We can't always come back as a female. But that essence, that who you are before, and you come back. Once you come back, it is something else that carries over into that. Meaning that if you come back into a female, if you were male before and you come back into a female body, then some of the essence has got to come over with you. The desires, the emotions, some of that has come, and that has got to take over, even if you're in a female body from a male.
We understand that. And I know this is emotional for you, so I want you to breathe.
Yes.
Just breathe. Because we understand what you said, right? Like folks. All right. So he's put that out there. So let's get comments. So this is what I was talking about. I want you to state what we discussed, and then we're gonna open it up for conversation around that topic. So I'm fine with us starting with Pastor Cersei. Can you give us your comments on what what Alton has said? Lawrence said he has to take a few calls, but he's still here. All right, thank you. All right, go ahead, Alton. Go ahead, Pastor Cersei.
Thank you. A great subject. A touchy one for many people. We have to realize at the end of it all, we're all spiritual beings having a human journey.
Yes.
So, in my belief, before we come here, when we come from the realm eternal, we have made contracts. And those contracts are not from the moment of just when you were born until you make your transition. Those contracts are the basis or the platform or the stage that you're going to present yourself in this incarnation. So before you leave the realm eternal, you make a contract to say, well, I'm going to be a Black male, gay, Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to choose these parents. Now, I remember years ago when the concept came to me that before we come here, we choose our parents. I thought the therapist I was dealing with was on drugs. Because in my mind, I just knew I didn't choose my parents. I've changed that over the years.
Yes, because you choose your parents based on the lesson you're supposed to learn on that visit to Earth School. Go ahead, Pastor. I just want to put that in.
No, exactly. That's true. So I finally understood that concept, that I chose those beautiful beings with all their flaws to make the being that I am now today. And my mother would tell you she knew that I was gay when I came out of the womb.
Yes.
So her mission as I was growing up was to try to change that direction. Um, and I didn't understand that as a child. She was doing her best to protect me for my adulthood, to protect me from being hurt or done wrong because of my sexuality. But over the years, I've learned to move into being your authentic self. So the great lesson about this is all of us at some point have to get really into our skin and live our true authentic selves
Yes.
to
Yes.
show up as God would have us to show up in this experience.
Yes.
There's things in my thought process. You know, I hate that we have to live in titles. I hate that we have to live in titles that I'm gay, straight, black, white, Republican, Democrat. I hate that we have to live in those titles, but in this realm, those are necessary for this realm. But the titles are just the limitations because we are beings who are experiencing being a gay being. The being that you are is neutral. The being that you are is androgynous. The being that you are is spirit. But we have made conscious choices in this experience to live out this demonstration of what, in my life, of what a gay black male looks like, who's also in
Right. But
ministry.
now we are spiritual beings, but we're in physical bodies that have a male and female anatomy and all that comes with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, Michelle and Shondelyn? And then I'm gonna ask each one of you all: when did you know that you were homosexual? Did that happen from birth? Is it something that evolved? Um, Yeah. And what are your thoughts about what Alton has brought to us about that? That is just part of your essence from another life brought over. I'd love to hear you all's commentary on that.
I'm gonna just say that I think pretty much like you had said earlier that it's different for everybody. Like every situation is different, and I can say that only because, like when I look out, I have cousins, you know, and one in particular to where when we were kids, I mean, like little kids, you know, you knew that he was gay. It wasn't anything that
Right.
he
Right.
uh,
Right.
searched out to be, you know what I'm saying, or planned to be. It was just, you know, that was who he
You
was.
knew it. You knew it.
Exactly. Um, and like for myself, it's different for me. You know, it's that when I met Michelle, I was dating only men. I don't feel that out. Like people say, you know, like she got turned out or something like that. Like I think I did not get turned out. Okay. She's laughing because that's what, you know, what people would
I'm
say.
like,
Like
you
I
know,
got
that's the first thing. How did that girl
not
that
no,
got you and turned
but
you
in all
out?
honesty, because my daughter, I have my daughter is gay. And when she came out, it was, you know, like as a parent, it was like for me, when I looked at her situation, it was that she had a bad experience. You know, this is my thinking when I was looking at her situation, because she didn't develop as fast as the girls were developing in her age, meaning she didn't like to show her body, you know, or show cleavage or wear, you know, high shorts or whatever, and she was not having sex. So my thing to her was, because you're not having sex, that does not mean that anything is wrong with you, you know. And then when she did find somebody, he pressured her for sex, and she was making up all kind of excuses, you know, not to have sex with him. So he went and he had sex with her best friend, You know, so for me, when she came out, I was thinking that you just had some bad experiences. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Like you just had some bad, experiences or whatever. It doesn't necessarily
Bad
mean that
experience
you
with the
are
guy.
gay,
Yes.
But
or whatever.
you know what I feel? I think that sometimes experiences show us where we need to be. Experiences come in our lives. It's not haphazardly. It doesn't happen like. But I think some experiences come in our lives to show us where we need to be. For me personally, I'm just talking about for me personally. When
Yeah.
those experiences come into your life, for me personally, I'm not talking about anybody else on this call. But for me personally, when those experiences have come into my life, they've shown me where I need to be. Because you keep going through those same experiences. They keep repeating themselves and they just show you where you need to be in life. I'm just talking for me personally.
Right.
And
So, Alton, did you, from a child, did you know that you were homosexual, that you were gay?
I knew it, but I backed off from it. And the reason why I backed off from it, because first of all, from the Almighty, I thought it was wrong. From the Almighty, from my cousin, from wherever, I'm not saying from the Almighty, but from people around me, because God never told me it was wrong. But from people around me, I just knew that this was wrong. And from that, and I found myself repenting constantly. I found myself, and you can ask David Michael, I will call him constantly. I found myself repeating constantly, and he had to assure me. And even David Michael came into who he is later on in life. And I'm not going to tell you about his life, so that's for him to tell.
Yeah, he'll
But,
tell what
but,
his.
but I had to keep talking to him. He was my saving grace back then. I was a young child. We grew up together, but he was my saving grace. But God had to show me it was not him that I was relying, but I had to rely on God himself. Because David Michael had one time, but I would call him everything. Anything happened, I was calling him. But God had to show me, don't rely on that. You need to rely on me. And that's where I came from. But I had to keep during those times and even doing those acts and doing things that I knew weren't right. I had to keep repenting. And that's what hurt. Why am I keep repenting for something that feels natural inside, but society is telling me it's wrong?
Okay.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And
So,
so that, I think a lot of that happens for a whole lot of people.
so
You know,
for me, the way Shelly and I met, and why I say it's not so much like everything is different for everybody, and it's not so much a turn out thing. I've always been a spiritual being, meaning spiritually connected, and I felt like in ways that some people are just not. When I say that, I mean like spiritually I'm open. A lot of times you find I'm not gonna even say spiritual people because it's more religion, with like closed minds. And that was how I was, brought up and raised and stuff like that. But Shelly and I actually met at a funeral. And at that time, I was dating only men. I never even looked at a female as to say like or attracted to or anything like that. When I met her, it was different. It was like we connected on a spiritual level, to where um it wasn't even like, like a sexual level. It was more of a spiritual connection, and she just happened to be gay.
and
So
so it was a mental connection, a
yeah,
energy
it
connection.
was.
Right.
Exactly, it was. And then, I was asking myself the question, does that matter? You know what I'm saying? Like when you're dealing with like relationship, and I was always taught that it did matter. But then, I was always one to, question. But for me, my thing was if I was doing something wrong, trust me, I would know. I would get I would
You will feel it.
yes,
But you will feel it. But let me tell you something. Love is love.
right.
Love is
You know,
love.
and I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? And
You weren't.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you weren't. Love is love, and God
Right.
is love. And I mean, what you love is what God created, and
Right.
everything that you love, I mean, including your own child, is what God created.
Right.
And we are
So,
all love. All of us are love.
my whole world, like my family, friends, it was a shock to like everybody. Like they just, because they felt like it came out of nowhere. But I'm happy.
Absolutely. And you're probably more happy than you've ever been. But the thing about it is, even when I was in school, I had a female schoolmate, and this was when I was in beauty school. But her husband was beating on her, and when he was beating on her, she found a female, a confidant that she fell in love with, and it was a female. And she said she had never been with a female in her life, but it was a female that she had just become a confidant of, and now they have been lovers for like 15, 20 years. But love is love. And God is love, and what we perceive love. And I'm gonna let whoever wants to chime in on this, come on and chime on in. But God is love. It doesn't matter what your creed, your national, it doesn't matter. But God is love, and once you find love, it is what it is. It is what it is.
So for me, it's different. I knew when I was in school, I used to look at girls like, "Damn, she fine," but I never acted on it, right? But I would look at them like maybe say 7th grade. That's when I kind of started being attracted to them. But I actually dated this guy for like 7 years. We ended up getting married, and I only married him because that's what was expected of me, So, but we did have a talk after we got married. So I stayed married like a month, and we kind of split. And I came out at 21, and here I am 30 years later.
I love that. I love y'all love. But what I want to ask and what I want to keep to the subject is, what makes us the way we are? What makes us the way we are? How come?
So for Michelle, you're saying
people,
you were born
women. I just
that
love
way.
women. I know I love women, and that's just it. They can love it. I hate it.
And then for Shondaland, you became homosexual late in life.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost 50.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Late in life, because y'all,
yeah. So
you all have been together for 3 years.
Very, very late in life. But I think I raised my kids correctly. Because I didn't have any problems. When it came to that.
Neither did I. I have one son, and as he was growing, but he was playing. So as he was growing up, I was always open with him about everything. I didn't sugarcoat anything. And we're like this. It's like my best friend. We're just everything. He's like everything, my pride and joy. And he understands, and he don't let nobody mess with me.
He is not playing about his mama.
No. Let me propose a question. In your life, have you ever thought that you were something else, or like in past life, or something else that you were someone else, or like you in another life that you were probably a man, or even I wish we had some men, some other gay men on here. But even I will propose a question to David Michael, and so David Michael can speak up. So have you ever, David Michael, and have you ever felt that, maybe in another life that you were a female, or Come on, and you chime in. Even Kim, if Kim, have you ever felt like you were a man in another life? And just chime in. Cheryl, you too. Have you ever felt like you were a man in another life? And now,
Yeah.
Sure, you're muted.
I said, let me unmute myself. Oh, I'm gonna pour y'all some tea on this conversation. I'm doing the doing the round robin, and then, yeah, I'm gonna let you know, because I think it's a mixture of ways people become homosexual. I don't think it's no cookie cutter way of it, period. Um, but I do know by science, biology, when we are conceived, there is no sexual.
No, not at all.
When you are conceived, you are neutral.
Right.
As you are developing in your mama's womb, is when you either grow a penis, have a vagina, or both. Because we do know there are folks born with both, right?
Right.
Okay. So that in itself tells you scientifically, not based on religion or none of that, science tells us that that's a by chance kind of thing.
Yes.
And that we could have came here with both.
Right. I've seen some.
Right. So that's why I know there are various ways of that happening. But as far as me, I've always been a tomboy. But I've always been after nothing but boys and men. I've been straight after. But I have always, let me see, I have an obsession with seeing people come. Now this right here, we straight are this grown folk conversation. And I have in growing up as my mom was not really touchy-feely, not a whole bunch of telling you, actually no telling you she loved you or kissing on you, but she provided. You know what I'm saying? She was the strong mama taking care of 3 children, and she was handling things. I mean, straight handling things. But as I got older, it's showing how I show my love, like in my relationships. I've learned over time, y'all know, because I'll be 62 next month. But I showed how I loved you by how I laid you down.
Yeah.
Right. So in my real talk. So in my relationships where I might not have been one to, cuddle up to you all the time, in regular environments, right? I might not have been whispering in your ear about I love you, but once we went into that bedroom and I laid you down, you got everything you had ever been missing, right? So I have prided myself on being I'm the shit in the bed, and I love to see people come. I love making people come, right? So no, I'm real talk. So the lesbian community has always courted me by how I roll, right? How I have stuff, just my persona. And so they've always courted me. So I know I give off a mixed persona, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I have a girl that we went to high school together, and we connected years later. And she's always been pretty. Now, when I see somebody's fine, I say, "Oh, that girl fine." I don't have no problem with that. Same way I do for a guy. I say, like I say, a guy is fine, but it's different. So with this girl Z, we sitting around drinking, getting our party on, and I had always wanted to know how she came. Real talk. And so one thing led to another, and there you have it. It happened. I went to work on her, and then it came to the point that she pulled up and wanted to kiss me, and I became that nauseated me. So I was cool for her to eat me. I was cool to make her come. But when it came for, how I would normally interact with a man in a bed, that repulsed me.
Mm.
So that told me then that I'm, what they call strictly dickly. But I love to see people come. So I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. I love to see people come. So whether that's you masturbating, but me on that girl thing was, I wanted to see if I could perfect her like I did guys. Real talk. You know how they say men get notches on their belt? Well, I wanted to see, could I do the same thing to a woman that I had always been doing to a man?
Right.
So there you go. That's that tea I had to pour for y'all today.
All right, and I love that, Cheryl, because you're being real. But David Michael, do you want to share anything, my love?
Look, Pastor Cersei over there laughing at me.
Laughing because, girl,
y'all know if you ask,
I love your tea.
Me, I'm gonna tell you.
I love your tea.
And David gonna tell you, boy.
You did that. No, you did that. I wasn't expecting to go down that road.
That's something I never knew, and I've been there's something.
But the neat thing about that, Cheryl, you knew in that moment though, you knew you weren't a lesbian.
Oh, right. For sure.
Right.
You knew where your true attraction was.
Right. Exactly.
And that's beautiful. It's beautiful that you can even do both of those and still be clear. I have friends who are bisexual, and they get a lot of flack for being bisexual because people say they're not sure about what they want.
Yeah.
But these people are clear about, they love their women and they love their men. But the thing about it in the bisexual relationship, the man knows the other woman, the woman knows the other man, and everything's out in the open.
Right.
So for those people who say they're bisexual and everything is, all cards are on the table, I can honor that you truly are, that's what you were created to be as a bisexual. I can't question that.
Yeah.
Now for the person who says that I'm bisexual, but no one knows the story and there's a lot of skeletons in the closet, that's a whole nother issue.
Right.
With me, I've always known that I was gay. Since I was little. Before I knew what the words were, I knew that I was.
Right.
I had no words for it growing up. I knew that I had the attraction. If you looked on my teenage wall, you would see Eric Estrada, David Cassidy, Sean Cassidy. All the teenage idols were all over my wall. So everyone should have known that, yes, I was gay. And I too went through my journeys of trying to date women because it's what society wanted, or it's what the church wanted. And the church is the worst thing that's happened to our planet. I'll say that because of his bigotry and because of his dogma and the wrong information about what spirit is and what we are in relation to that. But I had to find my truth. And I remember growing up knowing my grandfather, Grandpa Lee, when I was really young, asked me a question. He said, "Are you a homosexual?" And because I didn't know what the word meant, I couldn't answer. I didn't know what it meant. I said no. As I got older, it's like, oh, this is what Grandpa was asking. I had no clarity. The words gay, the words homosexual, the words faggot didn't make sense to me. So I started to learn as I got older, oh, that's what they're saying. Because I like guys, and I've always liked guys, that's what they're saying to me. But I didn't know what those words meant when I was coming up. So I had to really start to define myself.
Awesome.
Great conversation. So Kimberly, are you straight, gay, bi?
I think Kim gone.
That's not my dog. See, y'all think that's my dog. That is not my dog.
Oh, I think that's David Michael, but I think Kim's gone. I think Kim done left.
She there.
Is she?
I haven't thought of it before, but I have male energy even in my
No, but
hetero marriage, I'm more dominant.
Kim's married. She's not gay, but Kim's married. But I just want her to join in on with us. But I think she's gone.
Oh, well, she just texted something in the. So she said, I haven't thought of it before, but I have male energy, a thought pattern. Yeah. Well, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because my flagship project is Chameleons. And Chameleons is about down low women married to high powered men. And that's what my project is, Chameleon. And Michelle, you remember the audio of that podcast, that audio acting?
Yeah.
This conversation, we're gonna continue having these conversation on homosexuality, LGBTQ, because she says she had several experiences and she loved all. Go ahead, Mamacita. So with my, I think I'm gonna do that so that people can come. I want real life down low women instead of just actors. I want real life down low women to be a part of my show, and it will be voice acting and not just
But Cheryl, it's not only to just do that, but to get to why we are who we are. And I think we need to invite David Michael back because I think a lot more David Michael has to say that, because we're up on 10 o'clock now. But I think this need to be a part two.
Right. Well, what I was thinking of us doing this as a part of a series for the rest of the year. So that's only a couple of weeks if we're going to do it every Thursday. Right. And there are several things I want to talk about under this subject, and we'll get together and come down with the topics we'll do on each one of these Thursdays. But things like transgender, right. these folks who have gone from man to woman and now competing as a woman. That shit shouldn't be happening.
Me and David Michael just talking about that today. We got to continue this. We got to.
So that's one of the subjects. And I want all of us to think about that. This is a problem. I'm going to say this. What I feel about LGBTQ is this. Why do we have to know that you're gay? Why do everybody have to know you gay? All of this he, she, them, that.
Right. Exactly.
Man, woman, he, she. Why do we have to know that? That gets on my fucking nerve. I'm gonna be honest.
Yes.
And so that's one of the conversations we're gonna have because I'm done with that. I'm so tired of that.
Yes.
So these are the conversations I want to have.
No labels. I don't like labels.
Yeah, because why does that matter? I mean, exactly. If you whomever you laying with, why you gotta have a side? Let everybody know. Who gives a fuck?
Right. Exactly.
So to me, that's showboating.
Right.
Why does everybody have to know that? We don't have to know that. We don't have to know that.
Exactly.
But yeah, we need to have those conversations. Look at the people who are born hermaphrodites, who are born with both organs.
Right.
It's that guy who's a runner from Africa, and they said when he was born, the doctor asked the mom and daddy to choose what sex they were going to put on his birth certificate, although that person was born with a penis and a vagina.
Right.
That dude that person is 100% a man, but his parents chose a woman. So here this man is. He's run this big time athletes, Olympic, right? And now they telling him to take some type of hormone so that his testosterone is not so high when he get ready to run. And I'm saying, no, that's dumb. Right. He should be change his birth certificate to man, and he need to hop over there and run with men. That to me, that is such common sense.
Right.
So these are the conversations I want to have, because my friends come in all sexual preferences, and to be honest, I don't know what you do in your bed, long as you're not trying to make me do it in a bed. If I want to hop in your bed, I'm gonna hop in your bed. But I don't have to tell the world that that is what I like. I mean, I don't know, but we'll have that conversation. But any closing thoughts of anything that we've covered? I really enjoyed this conversation. And people are gonna be so surprised when they hear the tea I poured. Yeah, but that's real talk, honey. Y'all know the deal.
I'm glad you were able to share with me, baby. But it's more to be explored. It's more to talk about. It's more to get to the root of the problem. It's more to get to the.
This is not a problem. It's not a problem. This is
we're
having a sexuality conversation.
I didn't mean to call it a problem, but it's more to go to the conversation.
Yes. And I think the things that we're talking about are things everybody have always wanted to talk about.
Right.
And it's a whole bunch of heterosexual folks.
Hey.
We all know this. Like my friend Gregory, he could give you a list of the supposedly heterosexual men that he has laid. We're talking about top politicians. They got wives and families out here like they're straight men, and they out here getting it with other men. Yeah. So it's not like this hasn't been going on forever. I was just reading something where in Greece, Athens, Greece, back in the day, it was quite normal for all the men to be gay. When you look at history and things that have happened, you look at the statues, you look at those statues, all them folk were gay. So, it's more to this. It's not like homosexuality just happened.
No.
Yeah, and
this is a conversation.
I think those are all still traits that make us unique as humans.
Absolutely.
Right, perfect.
And this is, and go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, we were talking about genetics and how we were born. There's scientists that also believe that once we're conceived, they actually believe that we start out female first.
Oh yeah,
and then we develop.
Yeah, I remember.
We separate and we develop and become a male version. But a lot of scientists do believe that when you're conceived, that first gene is a female gene.
Right, I heard that, David.
We all gonna do some research. See, that's a great topic for us to have as well, that we all start, whether we start off as a female or whether we start off neutral, we can examine all of that and just have conversations on it. But I think it's worth having a conversation, and maybe, this can lead to, it not being so important. You don't have to stand at the top of a mountain and scream that you're gay. You're in a big old room of people, and you just okay, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you talk, Pastor Search. I'm sorry. It is a girl. She is in House of Representative of Georgia. Her last name is Cannon. Openly gay woman. I go to an event, right? Now this is a political event. She goes up to the mic. This woman says, I'm part Cannon, whatever name, something Cannon, and I'm queer. This is the way she walked up to a mofo mic to introduce herself. And so I can see people, they looking at each other. I'm like, she's a problem. Because the only reason she sat up there and did that was to shock the room. Why? Her doing that said to me, she need to be on some meds and need to go see a therapist. Because if that's how you gonna go up to a political campaign and introduce yourself as whatever canon and I'm queer, girl, I'm like, girl, bye.
I've
So
heard,
she would never get my vote because she got a problem.
she has a problem, but I've heard Pastor Cersei speak several times, and not one time has he gone up and introduced himself as homosexual, queer. He has never done that. He's never done that.
I mean, but what? And that's what I'm saying. We can have that conversation about titles and stuff, but why would she do that? So to me, she's straight fake, right?
Yeah.
You know, she's trying to almost weaponize her being a homosexual.
I will say this, and it's funny, I've never heard my cousin call me Pastor Cersei, so that's the first. So anyway, wow. So I will say this, in growing up, I'm 54 years old. So in growing up, I can remember when gay was only a white thing.
Yeah.
And then in our Black communities, whether it was our churches or our businesses, they didn't recognize that. So when I was growing up, when we started having Black gay pride, separate from the regular pride, that really irritated me in the beginning. I was wondering, why do we need two prides? But once I understood it, we needed two prides and we needed to be vocalized so that people knew that we actually existed, that being gay wasn't just a white thing, that there were gay people, and your choir director in your church was probably very gay. And the organist in your church was probably very gay.
Say it, David.
So these were, a lot of times we had to put ourselves out there so that we gave voice and visibility to who and what we are, so that we didn't have to hide in the shadows. So that's why a lot of people during that time, was very important for us to make clear that we are valid human beings and that we have a place in this grand scheme and in this dream. So from that point of view, I get it. The showboating, it's almost
kind of, I would still go back to showboating.
It's sort of popular now to be gay, because it right now. Thing. So I'm not sure why.
Okay, so that's going to be a real good topic when we have that one.
So I'm not sure why now it's such it's sort of cool to be gay now because it's in the media, it's on your television, it's beyond great, it's beyond the shows that came out in the early 90s and the early 2000s that showed us gay people, in our faces on our televisions. We're not we're not there anymore. We're out there. We're able to be parents. We're able to adopt. We're teachers. We're ministers. We're government officials. So I think now what needs to happen now is there's an embracing now of everyone and their differences. There is a need and a move for inclusion.
Yes.
Inclusion in our states, in our amendments, in our countries, but inclusion in our churches also. There shouldn't be a thing that
already included.
We go to churches and we give tithes to people who make us feel bad about who we are.
Right.
Churches should
churches are the biggest spots of gay people.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, we definitely have a number of topics that we're gonna be able to cover, and it's gonna be a really good conversation with straight and gay people. So I think that's what we need to do, and this is a great conversation for us to be closing out the year with and preparing us for 2021 to look at things different and kind of, understand one another, but move forward on some of this, all in your face, and because I get tired of it. I'm gonna be honest, it's tiring.
Right. Well, this is something we can pick up on. On the next episode, we can work it out. I'm looking forward.
Next Thursday, it's gonna be good. Pam, Pam had her hand up. Pam, did you have something you wanted to say or a question? I know y'all, there she go.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I had a few minutes in between calls, but I did want to say real quickly that I do appreciate everybody's perspectives. And I have many friends that are different persuasions, gay, straight, whatever, what have you. But for me, I don't look at anybody as what their differences are. I mean, I love everybody. So, and it's easy for me I mean, it's not easy for everybody, but it's just easy for me because I look at everybody as human beings
Awesome.
first.
Have you ever been with a woman?
I've never been with a woman. I've never had that desire. But it's okay. You know, I don't
Yeah.
down anybody or I don't judge
Yeah.
anybody for having having those desires for a man or a woman having a desire for a woman. That's not my preference. But it's okay,
It
because
is. Yes, it's
Yeah,
okay.
because whatever
Yeah,
you do in the bedroom is your business.
right. And I did hear all of that. It was just really interesting. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on these calls. I wish I could get in there and, give some input, but, just know that, you all are loved and we appreciate your perspectives. I'm glad that now we've come a long way in our society with acceptance. We still have a long way to go, I think, but we
Yes.
have come a long way. I actually, when I was in high school, my last year in high school, a friend of mine, he had a twin and they were both gay, but they have since died of AIDS. But, as a matter of fact, we all had the same birthdays and I invited them over to my house for a birthday party. So, I've been around gay people pretty much all my life.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
it wasn't something that I had to have a conversation about because I just looked at them as another person and they were my friend. That's why I say I've always been like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Pam, I love you.
I love you too.
Pam, I love you. And
I love you too.
I thank you for your input, Pam. That was so powerful. What you just
You're welcome.
Okay, y'all. Well,
And by the way,
Alton Pam went to Thera
Cheryl.
with us too.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, by the way, Cheryl and I are longtime friends, even though we didn't graduate in the same year. She's a good friend of mine, and I've helped her on a lot of projects, and I hope to continue to, share my energy with her and do anything I can to help her and support her.
Yep, she helps me out a
And
lot. I
support you
came out
all.
in 1975. What year you came out, Pam?
I told you 80.
Okay,
Well,
I came out of 75. You came out of 80.
I
What year
know.
did you come out, Alton?
we all went to Thera. David, Michael, my Pastor Cersei went to Thera. We all went to Thera.
Pastor Cersei, you went to Thera too? What year?
84.
All right,
Oh, so
84,
you're younger than I
75, 80. What's your year, Alton?
86.
All right, Thera High in the house.
I know. So, Pastor
Thera-
David, that
Thera's in
means
the
you would have
house.
known my brother Christopher
man.
Ash.
You know, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, you would have known my brother Christopher Ash because he graduated in you say 84?
84.
Yeah, because Brian graduated in 82, Chris graduated in 84, my sister graduated probably in 89 or something like that. I forgot what year she graduated.
And my brother graduated in 80.
Yeah. So he would have graduated with me then.
Yeah. Sean Cersei.
Yeah, the name sounds really familiar to me too. And I've not seen him at any of our events, but I'm going to look him up in my yearbooks, which I've got several of them. 70, yeah, 77.
What about Felton, Cersei? Are you related to any of them?
Not that I know of.
They came out in 75 and 76.
Oh wow. I had just moved to Georgia in 76. I moved to Georgia.
I got you.
Wow.
Michelle and Chandler, please shout out your high school and the year you came out of school. We all talking about high school. Well, shout out your high schools and the year you came out.
Dominican High School, St. Mary's Dominican High School, 86.
All
right.
86.
Zion Aaron High School, 89.
Okay, yeah.
All
You came out
right.
the same year my sister did. Because my sister is 9 years younger than I am. So yeah.
Kimberly, you want to take what high school and what year did you come out? Thanks for having the conversation. That's a message earlier. She may be gone. 91. She came out at 91. All right, she heard her.
Out of high school, out of the closet.
What's your high school, Kimberly? What's the name of your high school? Hillcrest High School, class of 91. All righty. I love it. All right, guys. I really enjoyed this conversation. This is gonna be groovy.
Likewise.
All right. So we same time next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, I want y'all to send over conversations that you would like to have on on one of the weeks. If y'all would help me with that, that'd be great. Thank you, Alton. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Shondaland. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you,
You're welcome.
David, Michael.
I love you.
Love y'all.
All of you. Love all of you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Blessed be.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
Pastor, wait. Pastor, since you're on here, give us a closing prayer.
Okay. Well, this is what I know. I know that God is all that there is. This power and this presence moves in, through, and as us and for us. We are divine beings. We are connected to the one, the all, and the only. There is no sin. Hell is an illusion. We are always one and connected to the divine purpose and the divine power. So I know right here and right now that each person here is moving in opulence. They're moving in health and wholeness. They're moving in a place where they're moving in their dreams. And where their dreams are, the platforms for those dreams are also in place. We know that our lives are in divine right order, and we give thanks for this right here and right now, knowing that our word will not return to us void, but will come back and perform grander and greater than we can dare ask or think or put into words. Spirit will one-up us every time. So mote it be, and so it is.
And so it is.
Amen. Amen.
All
And
right, Pastor Cersei. We love it. Thank you.
Wait, make
That
sure
is
you
great. I
guys
feel
check out my
good.
website. Cheryl,
Right.
tell everybody to make sure they check out my website. I
Oh,
posted
yeah,
it
she
in
put
the
her
chat.
website in chat with the Tower Garden. So make sure you all grab that, please.
Okay, Pam, I will.
We
Thank
got you
you.
covered, girl.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
y'all.
all.
Have a good night.
Much love.
Thank you
Love
again.
guys.
Good night,
I
everybody.
know. Thank you. That was really good. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.